show you how to make crêpes. They're a really fun dish to know how to make. You can eat them for breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner. You can do all sorts of things with them. You can have savory crêpe where you put in maybe ham and cheese, or mushroom sauce is what I like to do, or all sorts of different ideas. And afterwards you can have the dessert crêpe where you do sugar or maybe strawberries or chocolate Nutella. Anyway, there's a multitude of ideas of what you can do for how you can fill them. And the other nice thing about crêpe is that you can make them ahead of time and even put them into the fridge until you're ready to use them, and then just heat them up in the oven for a while, until they're warm. And then you can fill them and you can eat them all together. So you can really make them ahead of time and make them so that they suit your schedule. And also it's nice anyway to make them ahead of time. That way when you fill them, everybody can eat together at the same time. So there's also that aspect, the aspect of that kind of convenience. But anyway, so I'm going to show you how to make them, and they're very easy to do. First of all, you mix a cup of flour, a pinch of salt, a tablespoon of sugar. So those are just the dry ingredients. And I like to mix those up first. Then I add 2 eggs. There we go. 1½ cup of milk. And 2 tablespoons of melted butter. That's cooled down. You don't want it to be all hot. You don't want it to cook your eggs. And then you just take a whisk and you mix it really well. You want to mix it well so that you don't have any lumps. It's not like pancake mix where you don't over mix it. You make sure it's really well mixed, and you can also use an electric mixer or a blender. Batter is finished. I want to show you that it's fairly liquid, so that's what you need to do so that you make sure that the crêpes are nice and thin. I will put this batter into the fridge for an hour. That makes it nicer because the flour kind of soaks up all the liquids, the gluten develops a little bit, and it just makes a nicer crêpe. But if you don't have time, that's fine too. The crêpe will be just as nice. For an hour in the fridge, and just took it out. Give it a good whisk before you start cooking the crêpe, just to make sure everything is well blended. I like to use this crêpe pan. This is really great. It has it's just the right size, and the front edge is lower, which makes it really nice when you want to slide it out. It's like all nice Teflon, so it really slides well, and it works really well to make crêpe. But you can use any frying pan that's anywhere between 8 and 11 inches, not too big, but those are the right sizes. So if you have one of those at home, that's fine too. So I heat up the frying pan to very high heat. You make it really hot before you start your first crêpe. And as soon as it reaches that high heat, you go down to medium high. I like to go to 7 on my electric stovetop. But again, it depends on how your stovetop is, or if you have gas, you just have to kind of judge it. But you don't want it too high because then you burn them. So once the pan is hot, I brush it with some melted butter. And the ideal measurement for this pan, which is about 11 inches, so if you have a smaller pan, you will want to have a little bit less. But for my pan, I figured that just about ½ cup of batter works well. And what I do is I start in the middle of the pan, and immediately, as soon as the batter hits the pan, I twirl it around just to make sure that everything, the whole surface is covered, so that we get that nice shape for crêpe, that nice large round crêpe shape. And then you let it cook on that one side for about 1.5 minutes or 1 minute and 45 seconds. you can see that it starts bubbling up a little bit in the middle, you know, the batter, and around the edges you will see, like, you know, the butter starts sort of to sizzle. That's kind of indicative for when it's done. And also the batter and the crepe itself actually slides much more easily in the pan than when it's not ready yet. So we'll wait for a second, getting there. It's already getting a little bit bubbly. I hope that you can see that. And once that's done, no, it's not ready yet. Because you want to achieve a nice golden color. You don't want it too brown, but if it's you know, nice and golden, that makes it obviously much more tasty and appealing. Okay, I think we're good. You can see it slides around easily, and you could do the flip if you wanted to, but I'm just going to do this. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit on the light side actually. I think the next one I might leave it in a little bit longer. But so once you have you know, you're set up with your frying pan and your batter, I suggest to just make all the crêpes at once, and then later on you put them in the oven, or even while you're making them you can put them in the oven, and then, you know, fill them at the same time for everyone, so that everybody at the table gets to eat their crêpe. Otherwise you'll end up, you know, by the time you're finished and everybody has had their first crêpe, they want their second and their third, because believe me, that will happen. Okay, see? Yeah, so it's good. It's done. Okay, so I will be making all these crêpes, and I will see you again in a little while, just to show you how we can fill them. So I made all my crêpes. I actually also made a more savory crêpe with buckwheat flour, farine de sarrasin, as they say in France, which is a very typical thing, especially, you know, in the northern part of France, to eat crêpes made with buckwheat flour. So these are the ones that are with the buckwheat flour. They're not as dark. The buckwheat flour that I used is a light buckwheat flour, which I really like. The dark one makes the crêpe fairly dark. That's a matter of taste, but I think these are great, and it's a much more sort of robust, savory taste than the ones made with white flour. And here are the ones made with white flour, nice and golden. But I will try to, you know, I will show you now how to fill them. So there's different ways. Let's take a savory one, although you can do the same with the white flour. It doesn't matter. That was just, you know, an idea. You can make little parcels, like fold them, or you can roll them up. So I'm going to make a parcel first, lay my crepe on a cutting board, and I have made a nice mushroom ragu. And I will give you the recipe in the on my website. It's with mushrooms, a little bit of cream, some thyme, some tarragon, really nice. So what you can do is you take, you know, you make sure the mushroom ragu is warm when you start making it, fixing up the filling for the crepe. You just stick it in the middle as much as you want, and then you fold over the bottom and then the top part and the sides, and you have a little parcel. And so earlier when I was saying that you put the crepe that you have made into the oven until you're ready to eat them, what I meant to say is obviously in the oven just to keep them warm at 200 degrees, not to cook them. That just keeps them nice and warm, so that by the time everybody is ready to sit down and eat, the crêpes are nice and warm. You put the filling in and you can dish up, and there you have a little parcel, as you can see. And another thing to do, so this one is done now, is to roll them up, and I like to do that with the sweet crêpe. So you take your crêpe, we like to put a little bit of lemon juice on it. But again, that's all a matter of taste. Nobody has to do that. And then I take some sugar and just kind of spread it out over the crepe. Again, it's how much you like. I also am going to do some fresh strawberries tonight. The strawberries are growing here in Virginia, and I went out to the farm and got some fresh baked strawberries, so I thought that would be really nice. And then, you know, you spread them out over your crepe. And then you just roll it up, you know. And presto, you have a very nice dessert crepe. You can also put, as I was saying, chocolate Nutella in there, or bananas, maybe with melted chocolate. There's all sorts of ideas. Same for the savory ones. Tonight I'm also going to do a cheese and tomato one, and put a little bit of oregano over it. And then in order to make sure the cheese melts, I reheat the crepe, which is a folded one in that case, in the same pan that I made the crepe in. And just, you know, it's nice with the cheese is melted. And so there's a lot of ideas. I'm going to share some of them on my website. And if you have any, please feel free to comment and let me know. All right. I hope you will enjoy these crêpes and that your family will enjoy them as well.